Hey, what's up you guys? It's Patty, and as you already know, please hit that subscribe button because this is going to be an interesting story for you guys. As you know, we love to do our story times here, so grab your popcorn, grab your snacks, get something because you're going to need it. Anyway, this is going to be the infamous story of the Gainesville Ripper. Pretty much, as you can tell, it's the infamous story of Ghostface, aka Scream. It's not based on 100% true events. Scream movies are not based on those. The inspiration for the infamous horror movie. Comment down below which story you'd like to see next, and also as well hit that like button. And of course, once we get to a certain amount of subscribers, we can do more fun things like this. So I know you guys can tell that I have had a haunted house series, but turns out that we are rebranding the channel and it's Patty Paranormal, not Patty and Jana Paranormal. I know it came out really crazy, but some things happened, and I hope you still stay here for the ride. There's going to be lots of things still happening in this amazing channel, so make sure to stay tuned. I absolutely love like serial killer stories, like documentaries and stuff like that. It's just something I've always loved. It's something I was going to college for until I decided to start YouTube. College just wasn't for me. But anyway, that is not the point of the video. The point of the video, discretion is advised, and I know there's a lot of warning labels, but this story gets really gruesome and I just want you guys to be warned as much as possible. It's about the Gainesville Ripper. This started in Gainesville, Florida in 1990, specifically in August. One girl by the name of Christina Powell. She was 18 years old, thinking she was going to have the time of her life going to the University of Florida. Her parents, Frank and Patricia, they took her and dropped her off to this apartment building for the University of Florida. Christina had a roommate her name was Sonia Larson, also 18 years old, I believe, as well. They were going to be like roommates in their apartment. They already set up their apartment, so they wanted to get a jump start onto college. They were having the time of their life. They were so excited for the new year. They just couldn't wait. So pretty much as Patricia and Frank left and let their daughter obviously live their life in their new apartment, their new building, just the new experience. So at this time, obviously, I know you're watching this on your iPhone or your TV or something. They didn't have that back then. They had landlines. I still have a landline in my house. Frank and Patricia, they traveled back home and they were letting their daughter enjoy their new experience in their life. So Patricia and Frank already like anticipated on visiting their daughter again pretty soon, like coming up. Ended up getting a little worried because previously their daughter called on the landline as soon as they left to let them know that they were good, she was having the time of her life, and that she was so excited. But time was going on, and the more and more time that was going on, Patricia and Frank were getting worried. Christina told them that she was going to check up on them and everything like that later on, but she ended up getting busy. Patricia and Frank just thought like, hey, like maybe our daughter's just got busy, she lost track of time, you know, she's enjoying it. We're not going to stress herself out too much. We're just gonna let our daughter enjoy it and be our daughter. They still did not hear from their daughter, but again, like I said, they anticipated and already planned on visiting their daughter. So Patricia and Frank traveled back to the apartment and they went up to the main door and they walked in and they still did not hear anything from their daughter. They still tried not to stress about it too much because they didn't get a chance to like set up a landline in their apartment, so they couldn't exactly reach her, so she would have had to reach them on a landline on the campus in like apartment area. So they went into the main entrance and they walked up to the second floor where Sonia and Christina were staying. They thought it was like still a little weird because again, they have not heard from their daughter. But when they walked up to the door, it was just like a bunch of like personal handwritten notes all over the door, and it like they're like, oh, okay, and then they started to read them. Come to find out, they noticed that their daughter had like gotten a lot of notes saying like, hey, we tried to reach you, we were going out but you didn't answer, no one was answering, no one came to the door, so we went without you, I'm sorry. So they definitely were like at panic mode right now. They were worrying like, what happened to our daughter, where's our daughter, like what happened to them, everything like that. So they seen I worked there, the maintenance man, so they walked up to him and was like, hey, like, can you help us get into this apartment? This is our daughter's apartment, we're really worried about her, we don't know what happened to her. And as well, and the maintenance guy was like, I can't do anything without talking to my manager first, let me go get her. So they consulted the manager, they were waiting. Of course the manager checked it out and then they were like, oh no, and they thought it was going to be a serious situation. So just in case, the manager got the police involved. One police officer showed up and politely escorted Patricia and Frank, Christina's parents, out of the building just in case. And they were worried sick. They were, as anyone would be, just like wondering and it's like the anticipation of what is happening. So the manager and everyone, the police, they opened the door to try to find Christina and Sonia. And the maintenance guy walked in, and of course, like, there's the door and then there's the couch, and then you had to go straight and then right in front of the couch to even see anything like that. So the maintenance guy walked over there, turned, and then as soon as what he seen, he ran out screaming, throwing up, nauseous, sick, and he could not believe what he just saw. And of course he ran past and right in front of Chris's parents, Frank and Patricia, so then it spiked panic mode into them. So pretty much what the maintenance guy ended up seeing was Christina Powell on the couch, fully naked, unclothed. She has been stabbed and possibly sexually assaulted, and she was in a sexual type of manner position. And then of course Patricia and Frank, the police tried to push them out and not let them go in, but they insisted, and they seen their daughter lifeless. They had to do the investigation and they had to find out where Sonia Larson was. Do what they had to do. So they were checking the entire building, they were checking the entire apartment. So pretty much Sonia Larson had a bedroom upstairs, where they went upstairs to find Sonia in the same manner as Christina, lifeless, stabbed, naked, and in a sexual manner. But they did go back and investigate, and so they did find out that Sonia was sexually assaulted. First, that just struck a lot of panic, fright, everything into the University of Florida, because right after that they had to investigate more. They were trying to figure out, and they figured out that there was a force of entry. They realized on the door it was engravements, and it seemed like it definitely was a force of entry with a screwdriver. Third victim. Her name was Krista. So this happened on August 24th, and then literally within the next 24 hours, not even the next 24 hours, Krista was the next victim. Of course, the police and the FBI got involved, and they wanted to figure out what happened, who could this be. They tried to find the suspect as fast as possible, and then they noticed something really off. So Krista, she was really young. She was around the same age, and she was around 18 years old, and she was working in the sheriff's police office, but she was a workaholic, and she always showed up for work no matter what time, sick, anything like that. She was always on time. She never did no call, no shows. Everything happened when Krista did not show up for work. It was just off. So they ended up going to Krista's apartment to find her in the same manner, Christina and Sonia, but this time it was different. They found her sitting up on her bed, decapitated, and her head was looking at her. She was still stabbed and kind of still in a sexual manner. They also did figure out that I'm pretty sure she was also sexually assaulted, unfortunately, and they also found out that and connected both of the murders when they found on the side door force of entry as well with a screwdriver. In the media, it got out really fast. Everyone was panicking. Everyone didn't know what to do, and they were just struck with fear, just wanting, and they were not sleeping until they found the killer. There was a lot of people trying to give the suspect their, they were saying and give leads. They were trying to say who they thought it could be. So this is where Edward Humphrey comes in. So Ed Humphrey, he was a suspect, and then of course the Tampa Bay Times got to him really, really fast. They thought he was a suspect as well, and they, as it described, people were saying he had long knives. He was just strange. He also looked like he would fit the part. But Ed was involved in 2 car accidents, and his lithium, which was his medication that made his emotions calm down, kind of made his face more swollen. So it definitely made him look like the part and made him look like the serial killer. Alright, so of course they got Ed, and they wanted him behind bars at all costs. There was no way he was getting out, and they made sure to make him a $1 million bond. They did not want to deal with this guy. They thought that they had him, but then come to find out, their dreams broke when they figured out Ed did not match the type of blood that the killer from both crime scenes matched. As well as at both crime scenes, it seemed like the killer definitely tried to use soap and vinegar or something like that to clean up and try to get away from any evidence from both of his killings. So it definitely seemed like he was smart, but not smart enough. Someone was just screaming, sorry. But to continue the story, they thought that they had him. They thought that they had the guy until they figured out the blood type. So it got the media, it got everyone to be able to breathe again and just, But they were still in fright. Everyone was taking out, and someone is still screaming again. They were ripping out, and they were buying everything they could, from tasers, knives, pepper spray, guns. They were literally taking everything off of the shelves because they were in panic mode, which personally, me too. He took a couple years off of college, but Tracy came back to finish off college, and she thought that it was going to be her year, and she felt better about herself because she had a friend at the University of Florida, Manuel. So her friend Manny was a big guy. He was on the football team. He was a big dude, and he definitely seemed like he could protect somebody. If you're a girl and you're around a guy, you definitely think that they can, definitely protect you, and you're gonna fear a little less. Tracy ended up getting a call from her long friend saying like, oh my gosh, I heard everything that's happened. Are you okay? Like, are you sure you're okay? Are you protected? Do you need this? Do you need this? She let her friend know like she's good because she has Manny. And then of course she was like, hey, can you better call me at the end of this, like at the end of the day, make sure you're okay, make sure to call me on the landline. So as well, she did not get a call from Tracy, her friend, that night, so she definitely struck in fear. She tried to call again. She was like in hope that maybe she was just asleep. She ended up calling one of her other friends that she knew there to check up and like go to Tracy's apartment to make sure she was okay. Her friend was like, oh yeah, for sure, I'll go there, make sure she's okay, make sure she's good, and I'll even call you from her landline. He ends up heading over there, and then he calls her back, and very well, he is screaming off the top of his lungs, and Tracy did not make it that night. So they get the police involved, and then they also strike in panic even more. The media finds out even more because they didn't only just find Tracy, they found Manny too. Tracy thought she was protected, so did the rest of Gainesville, and when they found out, serial killer took out not just Tracy and the 3 other girls, he took out Manny, a star football player, a bigger guy. So once again, you already know they struck in panic. All of these students are just leaving. They don't care, they're just leaving. But previously, like, this all happened in the span of 4 days. 4 days. And of course, they were just struck in panic. They didn't know what to do. They were just leaving. They were scared. They were like, oh no, I can't be here. Especially because once they got Ed, a lot of things were just coincidentally stopping. But then it all started back up with Tracy as well. So they were like losing their minds, and then all of a sudden the police and the FBI were working together, talking to them, and they sparked up an idea. Hey, what if we put these patterns into our system, the VICAP system, to see if anything like this, like any crimes like this, has been happening around the world. Coincidentally, they did get one hit, and it happened in Shreveport, Louisiana. It was a triple homicide with William, the grandfather, William's daughter, Julie, and William's grandson, Sean. William, obviously, he loved family, he loved his grandson, he loved his daughter, but it was a triple homicide, and they had nothing to do with it. It was just one night, wrong place, wrong time. Pretty much, Sean was 8 years old, and he wanted to go to his grandfather's house to celebrate his 8th birthday. And they were in an area that never had any crime. It was so like peaceful there, and they did not expect anything, that they would leave their back doors open, they would leave the front doors open, unlocked, and some people even at the time left their like keys on the dash because there was such low crime rates and everyone knew each other, and it was a peaceful area. Come to find out that there was a triple homicide murder that struck panic in that town in 1989. So as the triple homicide, it seemed, and they figured out that 8-year-old Sean was stabbed, and then William also put up a fight, but unfortunately the killer took him down as well. And something that really struck that it was the same and things were matching up together was William's daughter, 24, was getting ready for a wedding that she was about to go to, while William was cooking steaks out at the grill, and of course Sean was on the couch when it all happened. He was the first victim while he was watching TV. But the thing that put the pieces together to make it look like it was the same killer, the same patterns, was Julie was upstairs. She has been sexually assaulted, she was stabbed, and she was in the same sexual manner as the 4 previous female victims. So they're like, wait, what? And of course, I don't know how, and they didn't know how, but what they knew got to the media really fast. and they were panicking. They were like, oh no, whoever this killer is that's still out there is gonna know what we know, and it's just something gonna be bad. But truthfully, it did end up helping them out because they got an infamous tip from a lady named Cindy. She lived in Louisiana and was in the area, and she previously knew and was seeing what was happening in Gainesville, and she was like, what? So she knew and was in and around the area and knew everything about at the time of when the triple homicide in Shreveport, Louisiana happened. So she put in the tip of this guy named Danny Rawlings. Danny was a troubled kid. He had a really tough background. He had an abusive father. He wasn't loved properly, and that is definitely how serial killers start. So she put in the tip, and she was like, this guy is probably the guy. This is something that you could be looking for. So the FBI and the police were like, are you sure? Like, do you really think that this could be our guy? So she was like, of course, I definitely believe and think that this is your guy. And they were talking, and she was saying, yeah, like, if it would be anyone, it would be Danny Rawlings. So they decided to do a background check on Danny Rawlings, and they found out of multiple charges of previously in jail before. He had a lot of bank robbery charges. He robbed a lot of banks. He was doing crazy outrageous things, and then it got them to think. They were like, oh wait, in the middle of all of this happening, one of our banks in Florida ended up getting robbed not so far from here. They thought, and they were thinking that one of the banks around them just got robbed, and ended up like threatening to kill them and push for the money. Thank gosh for the bank teller, because she put a dye bomb in the bag with the money, so as soon as he would open that bag, red dye would come spewing out and dye all of the money, so it was a trap. So they found and seen this creepy guy and this unknown guy go into the woods. They followed him in the woods. He fled, and then they opened the bag, and it was the same red dye, so it was the money that was stolen. At the same crime scene, they also realized that they found a screwdriver, but they put that on like more of like the low important cases at the time, because they were just dealing with the murders. That's when they just found out about them, so they pushed it off until they found the killer. Come to find out that they realized, now that it's all making sense, that there could be a connection, that whoever robbed that bank could possibly be the suspect, the killer. They didn't know, so they ran as fast as they could to the evidence, and they knew that they had a cassette tape, and they were like, we have to listen to the cassette tape. Then they found out, they were listening to the cassette tape, he was just admitting to what he did and saying that he robbed, and then that he robbed this bank, and that he killed the family, and then at the end he directly stated that his name was Danny Rawlings. They were like, oh crap. So then they were like, where is Danny Rawlings? Danny Rawlings, not that long out of Gainesville, already was behind bars because he got caught trying to do another bank robbery fleeing. So they got him, and he didn't know, but he ended up being charged of 5 counts of murders in Gainesville. And then in 1994, Rawlings ended death sentence and with lethal injection. And of course I'm going to put in little clips, so viewer discretion is advised. Danny Rawlings ended up admitting to everything and saying the most crazy stories, and he just would tell every gruesome detail. So pretty much when on the triple homicide, he just admitted that he got kicked out of his father's house, and he fled and he left because he wasn't supposed to be living with his father, but he had no other place to go, so he kind of had to. He ended up trying to kill his father, so of course his father kicked him out. He wasn't allowed back. So here goes Danny Rawlings going across the states, fleeing, and then he wounds up in that unfortunate Shreveport town. And he said that he just wound up at this nice looking house, and he knew nothing about these people. He just seen people walking in, and he tried the door and it opened, so he did it, and he proceeded to do it. So of course, unfortunately for the victims, Sean, William, and Julie, they had nothing to do with this. They just lost their lives due to one crazy person and one just crazy decision. So, and then also Danny just is a sick person, because come to find out, he admitted to he just seen Sonia and Christina just walking in and out of their apartments, so he just thought they were the ones, and he just followed them, and he just decided to brutally murder them and kill them. And of course, also at the scenes they found like duct tape residue, so they knew that to tape them down, he had to make sure that they were tied down as well. And of course, another thing was that Krista, he did not know Krista at all. He just remembers seeing Krista walking past her one time. And the crazy part of it is, he, after 8 hours of killing Sonia and Christina, he went back to his campsite, and just after 8 hours, he had this adrenaline rush that he had to do it again. So he went and walked right back to Krista's apartment, and he tried, and he forced open the door, and he realized she wasn't there. So he proceeded to go into the closet, hide in the closet, and he waited several hours for her to come back. As soon as she came in, he tied her down, got her, and he stabbed her, and he didn't think that was enough. He could put her in the sexual manner and sexually assaulted her. So then he decided, obviously, to hurry up, flee, and leave, and go back to his campsite, realizing he left something at Krista's apartment. So he was like, oh crap, I cannot be found. So he proceeded to go back the same way, secretly, and sneak into there the same way. And he just looked, and he just thought it wasn't enough. He had to do something else. So he fully decapitated her, cut off her nipples, and then made the head look up at her as just something to play with the police. And of course, he just is a horrible person. I do not understand what goes on in serial killers' minds for them to just do this and act upon these types of things. But of course, thankfully, he is gone. He died on October 2006. Danny Rawlings was sentenced and put to death by lethal injection. He already knew from 1994 that he was going to die. But of course, for serial killers, some things just last way longer. But anyway, I know it wasn't the best and most detailed story, but I definitely tried as best as I could to make it a little less long for you guys, because if I gave you all the details, it would just be forever. But of course, comment down below if you want more of like a detailed story, which story you would like to hear from me next. If you'd like more details, if this was too much, if you didn't like this video, just be straight up honest with me. Don't be rude though. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate you guys so much and all of your support. You guys mean so much to me, and I'm so glad that we're already really close to 700 subscribers. Don't forget that once we hit 1,000 subscribers, you already know, there'll be a giveaway. And then of course on my Instagram, Patty the Baddie, and the first A in Patty is an X. So make sure to hit the link in the bio to subscribe and to follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to do that. There's a lot of things that are chances for you guys that other people may not know about. But as always, thank you guys so much for the support. Peace out, Patty Paranormal peoples. Bye guys.